or simple reversal patterns using Japanese candlesticks. Have you heard the saying, the trend is your friend? Well, this is the opposite. Eventually, any trend is going to break, and this strategy helps you know when that's about to happen. To do this, we need to be able to recognize 4 simple candlestick patterns. We'll start by putting the hammer down. A hammer is a candle with a small body and a long shadow beneath it. Whether it's an up or down candle doesn't matter as much as the shape. It has a small body as close to a doji as possible and a long shadow at least twice as long as the body. You want to look for a hammer at the end of a downward movement. It shows that buyers are starting to get the upper hand and that the market will likely start going up. The second pattern we want to look for is the inverted hammer. It looks like, well, an inverted hammer. In other words, its wick extends upwards. It also forms at the end of a downtrend and is showing possible upwards or bullish reversal. Next is the shooting star. It looks exactly like the inverted hammer, but it forms at the end of an upward trend. It shows that the bears are starting to get the upper hand and the market is about to go down. And finally, we have the hanging man, which also forms at the end of an upward movement and looks exactly like a hammer with a long shadow. Remember, the color of a candle is not as important as the trend before it. In other words, for example, the only difference between an inverted hammer and a shooting star is that the inverted hammer forms at the end of a downward movement, while the shooting star forms at the end of an upward movement. Now that we know what patterns we're looking for, we can incorporate them into trading strategy. To do this, open your charting software in the same time frame as the expiry of your options, which I explained how to do in the previous video. For the purpose of this example, I've chosen the euro versus the dollar. We follow the market until one of these patterns emerges. As it happens, in this graph we can see an upward trend ending in a hanging man. Notice how there's a relatively small body and almost no wick, but a very long shadow. This would be a good time to switch to your binary options trading platform and buy a put at the beginning of the next period. If we check back at the time of the expiry, we can see that the euro-dollar pair went down and our theoretical put expired in the money. Try opening your charting software now and see if you can identify any of these patterns. We'll get into some more easy to identify